Hi again. Last summer, I purchased this set of Royal Albert Tranquillity, and I sort of just put it away because I didn't have a lot of time to look at it. There were things on the go in our area with the wildfires, and so I decided to rearrange my dishes, and I got it out and thought I would just do a video and talk about it a bit. Now, I've mentioned the wildfires before. I don't know if you can see that line of black and burned there between our house and the next one, but that's how close the wildfire came to our house. And it did destroy some of our outbuildings. So yeah, I brought my dishes home and put them in the cupboard, and now I've taken them out and I've decided I'm going to talk a bit about them. Here on the table, I have 10 place settings with the dinner plate, the dessert plate, the bread plate, and the cup and saucer. I have 2 more of each of the size plates, 3 additional cups and saucers, and 8 of the cereal soup bowls. And Tranquility is, well, the name of the pattern, again, I've said before, the name itself sort of makes you feel relaxed, I guess is a word I'd be looking for. I have, as you can see, I have the teapot and coffee pot, the small milk and sugar, a cake plate. Back there is a butter dish, a smaller size platter, and the gravy boat with the underplate. And I would like to have the larger cream and sugar. Here on the cake plate, I have a little Capodimonte bouquet of roses. And I think you could actually even leave that there and put a few cookies around it. I always put my cookies in the cupcake holders, regardless of the type of cookie it is. So yeah, you could certainly do that. And this beautiful lady is Claire. And Claire has on a pale blue dress, and I think she just looks, actually her dress at the back has pink, so she goes very nicely with these dishes. This lady here is Marjorie, and she certainly looks very tranquil. She's just reading a book and relaxing. And over here, this is, I think, Diana. And she has a beautiful dress. It's pale green at the back. And it looks like she's handing somebody a pink rose. And we've got roses on the front of her dress. See, it's a different shape, and I should know what the name of this shape is. I know I did know at one point. It's not the usual Montrose shape like most of my other Royal Albert, except for Blossom Time. But yeah, it's certainly a beautiful pattern, and one I hope to use more often. I did have a whole set of this and sold it, and it had additional serving pieces. And I sort of regretted it once it was sold. So I had an opportunity to buy this large set of dishes at a reasonable price, and so I bought them. I'm kind of starting, excuse me, to agree with my husband, though. I really don't need any more sets. What I need to do, I guess, is to find some additional serving pieces to go with the sets I've got. This is another one that I think would look nice with maybe Memory Lane, or certainly maybe even Dimity Rose, or one of those other patterns with the small roses. It has a very nice pattern of roses and forget-me-nots and gray, sort of a scroll, maybe a gray pattern at the top. And I don't know when this pattern started. I don't think it's made anymore. These are all made in England. And there you go, the Tranquillity. And I find often if I were to search for this pattern, Tranquillity would be spelled with one L, but as you can see here, it has two L's. Now this says 1969 for the copyright, which leads me to believe that these are not the original 1969, because I mentioned how with the Old Country Roses they only started adding the copyright in order to protect their pattern. But I don't know that for sure. And they all have the 1969 copyright as far as I can tell. But yes, it's a beautiful pattern, one I hope to use soon. As I didn't mention, I also have the salt and pepper shakers. And I don't know, I may decide to sell some of the place settings, because as there's 10 here, I really don't need 14. We'll see. I don't want to part with them and then regret it again. I'd love to find a covered server to go with this pattern. Of course, what gets me every time is if there's a teapot. And in this case, it also had the coffee pot. So I could not resist. So there we go. I'm going to put this back in the cupboard with my, well, I have some of my Royal Albert Old Country Roses put in a cupboard. And I will take time to put paper towel or bubble wrap or something between the plates to make sure that they don't scratch or damage each other. And I'll just show you over here in the corner. Well, there's some of my celebration. Up in this cupboard is where I am storing my Royal Albert Sweet Violets, which is just one of my favorite patterns. So lucky to have the rectangle butter dish with that, and to have found the cream soup bowls. So that's all up there. Okay, well that's it for this video. I'm sorry for jumping the camera around there. And we'll be talking again soon, and once